Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our humble community, the KangooEmpire. My name is NoodlesDragon and I'm here with my colleagues Xenon and Jonclee. This will be a quick startup guide for those who are starting War Thunder or more intermediate players who would like a quick run through of ammo types. If you would like to see a more detailed description of the following ammo types, we recommend a video done by Many Miles Away, which covers each type in more depth. To start us off, we will be dividing the 16 ammunition types of tanks into 3 major sections: kinetics, shells that defeat armor by the power of physics; chemical shells that defeat armor by the general use of explosives and other reactives, as well as another section for shells that don't quite fit into either. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank all our KangooEmpire community members' gameplay replays. I'd also like to thank Maschinengewehr Michael for helping us render footage that you will see during this video.
First up are kinetic shells. They use physical forces to directly penetrate solid armor. Nothing too special about that. Iterations of shells starting from APC may carry explosive filler. Note that almost no British vehicles have any sort of explosive filler, but have increased penetration values comparatively. Starting off our kinetic rounds list, we have the classic solid shot, commonly known as armor piercing, or AP for short. This basic round sports good penetration at all ranges, but is lacking the damage department due to its reliance on shrapnel to cause damage outside the flat part of the shell.
This is usually the starting/stock shell for US and UK vehicles. Another name commonly used for this type of shell is solid shot. Use this shell only when other shells are not available, unless you are using solid shot shells with a large caliber cannon, 105mm and larger.
Secondly, we have APHE, or armor piercing high explosive. These rounds pack an explosive filler on a delayed fuse to provide a shell with extra firepower. It works by penetrating the armor and detonating inside the tank, usually leading to a kill or death by a single well-penetrating shot. This is a shell that works in a similar fashion to AP shells, but generally have slightly less penetration value for a much more devastating post-pen effect, found on most World War II Japanese vehicles as well as select Soviet vehicles.
Next is APC, or armor-piercing capped shells. They are a solid shot round with some soft metal tip to increase normalization on armor, which increases the effectiveness to sloped armor and to reduce shattering, as opposed to AP, which does slightly worse on sloped armor. APC suffers a reduction of accuracy and range due to its aerodynamic properties. This shell is rare, found mainly in early US and UK vehicles, as well as German low-tier tanks. Next is APBC, or armor-piercing ballistic cap shells. These shells are a direct upgrade of both AP and APC, providing a ballistic cap for a standard AP shell, while giving better penetration values as well as maintaining its effectiveness over range. This shell is found in various US and Soviet vehicles. Now let's talk about what may be some of the most used shells in the game: armor-piercing capped ballistic cap shells, and APHEBC, armor-piercing high-explosive ballistic cap shells. All these shells have names that may bore you. Something to remember about these is that they both share the same set of general features. Both are efficient at penetration while sporting great amounts of explosive filler, without having the drawbacks of previously mentioned shells. They can be considered the best of all the shells explained so far. A minor difference between APCBC and APHEBC is that APCBC features higher penetration with less explosive filler, while APHEBC has more filler and less penetration. It is found most commonly between all nations as a go-to favorite ammo type. We have APCR, which is the armor-piercing composite rigid shell. It features an impressive amount of penetration, but it has very little post-penetration damage. It is best used for heavily armored targets, aiming for critical points, although that may take some time to find. This shell works extremely poorly in sloped armor, bouncing off this armor most of the time. It is advised to use this shell only when all standard ammunition choices are inadequate at successfully penetrating a tough opponent. Continuing on kinetic shells, we have the armor-piercing discarding SABOT variant, which is similar to APCR with high penetration statistics and low post-pen damage. However, it has very little drawback for slope armor. It carves right through it, retaining its high penetration and shredding thick armor. Another name that many players call this round is SABOT. This is found on mid-tier British vehicles and many high-tier vehicles save for Germany until the highest tier. Which brings us to the APFSDS shell. An APDS fired from smooth-bore cannons with fins stabilizing its flight path. This shell has excellent muzzle velocity and swallows well too. Some would argue this is the ultimate AP shell, and tanks today use this shell as a staple.
Chemical shells are shaped charges that penetrate mainly by reaction. Note that all chemical shells are easily nullified by tank skirts or spaced armor. A majority of these rounds also may explode on environmental objects such as trees and fences. HE high explosive is a common shell found alongside your stock shell on a lot of vehicles. This shell is not very good in destroying other tanks, but it is useful in destroying lightly or non-armored vehicles such as SPA trucks or open-top tank destroyers. HE with a caliber larger than 150mm in contrast can do massive splash damage, such as the well-known KV-2 can do. High explosive anti-tank, or HEAT, is a shape-charged shell found on most short-barreled vehicles like the German Panzer IV Ausf or the American Envoy 3-105 HVSS Sherman. Due to it chemically penetrating after a shell contact, it does not lose penetration over range, making it useful. However, its shell drop leaves much to be desired, and its post-penetration effects, despite its high explosive namesake, is only meager. However, it can easily detonate ammo racks or used in place of pure HE for a just-in-case shell. An advanced fin-stabilized HEAT round found on late-tier tanks. It has better shell ballistics and has tremendous post-penetration values, which makes them one of the highest penetrating shells available. Due to this, shells of certain vehicles may cost you a fortune. Hash is the HE category shell that not only ignores range but also ignores armor sloping, making this incredibly useful against sloped armor. In addition, it has fantastic post-penetration effects, easily taking out tanks frontally in one blow. Late British and mostly L7 derived guns receive this shell. A standard Hash has around 127mm of so-called penetration, which is not enough to destroy some heavy tanks even with the flattest of armor.
Nope.
ATGM. Certain specialized vehicles have the ability to fire anti-tank guided missiles. These heat-tipped missiles have the most amount of penetration in-game. First-generation MCLS missiles are controlled using the WASD keys, while second-generation C-close missiles are commandeered using the mouse. A full list of missile generations can be found in the War Thunder wiki.
Now we have two types of miscellaneous shells that don't have any defining category. First off is the smoke shell, which, as you probably have guessed, causes a smoke screen where it lands. This is very useful in tactics to help allies move across open terrain, or for even close quarters, to block enemy vision, while using it to your advantage. It is now found on many varying tanks of every nation at almost every tier. Our second and last miscellaneous shell is the shrapnel shell. They hit enemy armor while behaving similarly to a grenade, having the shrapnel damage the enemy. The shrapnel hits in a random cluster and the shell has little penetration. It is usually not very effective, although it can devastate smaller or cramped tanks. This rare shell is found exclusively on a few early tier Soviet tanks. And that's all we have for this episode. If you have learned something and have enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to us if you'd like to see more guides and gameplay similar to this one. You may also join our community in Discord, linked down below. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and go f*** yourself. Cut.